Yes, people. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Blues Fan TV. I hope you guys are doing well today. Just want to say a big shout out to everyone that has been locked in, that has been, supportive. Um, I don't know what to say, to be honest, but I just want to say a big thanks to everyone. I hope we keep growing as a family. And for those who turned up against Ajax to do some quiet interview, I really appreciate that. I hope to see you guys tomorrow again, and of course, let's have a conversation. Yeah, today I've got one of the most famous Sunderland fan, Dylan, on the channel. I'm so sorry, guys. I know I should have been updating you guys earlier than this. This is coming like an impromptu, but this is live. Everybody's busy around the world. We're just trying to make sure we put something out there for you guys to enjoy. So tonight, I've got a Sunderland fan, just to have something to say about the game tomorrow. I hope you guys will enjoy it. If you don't catch up with this live stream, it's gonna be there for you to to enjoy after the stream. Dylan, it's a pleasure to have you here tonight. Thank you very much for coming on. Such I would say a beautiful soul, to be honest, because sometimes you reach out to people, it's not like they don't want to do it or something. They just feel like, no, this might not be the right thing for me. But to us, we feel like it's a pleasure to have you here. If you can just kind of a little bit of introduction to Blues Fan TV for people to know who's here with us.
Yeah, of course. My name's Dylan. I go by Pazza on TikTok. I really appreciate you having me on today. I've just sort of getting started with my sort of content creating journey
Yeah.
talking about football. So I appreciate the kind introduction. I don't know about famous, but I'm doing my best. But yeah, just a passionate Sunderland fan. Obviously, it's easier to talk about Sunderland when we're
Yeah,
having such a good start to the
yeah,
season. Hopefully, it can
absolutely.
continue, but we'll see.
So, guys, check Paza out on TikTok. On every socials is there. Like I said, I used to say like it's not all about Chelsea alone, guys. You can follow every other channel. There's a lot of things to enjoy out there. I hope you guys gonna follow him on TikTok and every other social. So, Dylan, let's get into it. I don't want to really take much of your time. I know you're buzzing right now because you guys are really in, let's say, a very good. Uh, very good form, to be honest. I could remember from the start of the season, a lot of people were saying Sunderland is going back to relegation. To be honest, I think people look down on Sunderland, but I think things are turning around. To be honest, you guys are really doing well. To be honest, how confident are you going into this game against Chelsea? To be honest.
Do you know what it is? With the start we've had and the results we've been getting, we've got 4 clean sheets already. We've defended really well at times. It would be very easy for me to come on and be big headed and say, oh, yeah, I think we're going to win. If I'm totally honest, this is one of the games where I expect that we're going to sort of learn the level. It'll be a really tough game. I'm not expecting to come away with anything, but I'm not ruling it out. But I think the start that we've had so far is testament to the recruitment that we've done, the players we brought in. But I think this is the sort of game where we're going to see what they're really made of. We've got obviously the likes of Ronaldo coming back from his suspension. He's just missed 3 games needlessly from a very silly sending off. And we all know that Chelsea games recently love to have a red card involved. So I'm just hoping we can get through the
Yeah,
game with all
yeah,
11 men on the pitch.
yeah. Yeah, like you said, I mean, you guys really did a quite good signing, to be honest, this season. And I think people were not kind of concentrating on what Sunderland is doing in the transfer window. But at the end of the day, it turns out to be, a very good result for you guys. What do you think is behind all these signings and, you know,
Do you know what it is? I think for the past few years in the lower divisions, the club had a very clear plan in place. We weren't spending much money. We were doing the sort of moneyball approach. You're buying low, you're developing players, selling high. The likes of Jack Clark, Ross Stewart, Joe Bellingham, who we all bought for low fees, sold on for a large profit. And that left us in a position where we could come into this summer window having gained promotion and effectively spend what we want. And a lot of people have sort of cast that to one side and said, "Oh, they're just chucking money at it." But all the promoted clubs go down. But I think the real key factor in what we've done is yes, we bought quality, but we've also bought the right sort of character. The likes of Granit Xhaka, who's captained an invincible season at Leverkusen just 2 years ago, he's come in, he's elevated the standards. We've got Ronaldo, who, despite the silly sending off, has got the sort of defensive work ethic from playing in the Simeone system for the past few years. The likes of Noah Sadiki, who will just run himself into the ground every single game, and Robin Roos, who's really keen to prove himself at the top level and has done so far, as I said, with 4 clean sheets already this season. I think it's all about balancing the quality and the character to really build a squad with cohesion. And the fact that they've gelled so quickly is really impressive.
Yeah, like you said, to be honest, I was so surprised when Saka was confirmed to be a Sunderland player. To me, I felt like, leaving Leverkusen, just champion of, Germany a few years ago, to join Sunderland. I was so surprised, to be honest. But at the end of the day, I could see the reason why he decided to come. I think there's something really cooking, behind the scene. But let's proceed here. Which part of this Sunderland team do you think is going to give Chelsea a huge problem tomorrow?
Do you know what it is? I think for the most part, we're going to be very hard to break down defensively. We don't concede too many goals. We do have the odd lapse in judgment, like we did against Man United. One of the goals they scored, we had 5 players all go up for one header, miss it, and it left Sesko open to score. But these lapses in concentration and lapses in judgment are very few and far between for our defenders. The only slight concern that I do have defensively going into this game is that Omar Alderete, who's been one of our better defenders, has been ruled out due to concussion protocols. But when you look at the depth and the quality that we have, it's going to be a back four, something along the lines of Ronaldo, Trey Hume, Dan Ballard, who's an absolute colossus of a defender, and then Nodi Mukiele, who's been far and away,
Absolutely, he's on
stats-wise, the best
fire, bro.
defender, the
That guy
best
is
centre
on
back in the
fire.
league at the minute.
Yeah,
So I think it will be hard to break down. My concern is that whilst I think your defence is definitely there to be got, that's due to the suspensions and the injuries. I do think we've sort of lacked goals from across our front three. Wilton Isidor's obviously got 3 goals so far, all of which at home. So I would like to see him get a goal on the road. But I think that the first priority has got to be keeping that defence watertight. Because if we concede early doors, we could be on for a hammering. So it's all about building from the back and keeping that defensive cohesion before we worry about trying to hit you on the counter.
yeah. Like you said, to be honest, you guys are absolutely doing well from the defense line. But considering the fact that Chelsea has scored loads of goals, for past 2 games we've scored about 8, 9 goals, and for past 5 games I think we've scored about 16, 17 goals if I'm right. Are you not worried about these? Like, because when you see the way Chelsea play, we play more of attacking football, from the wing side, I mean, things are cooking in the front. Are you really scared about what's going to happen? I mean, in terms of when you look at the goals that Chelsea have scored in the past few games, do you think your defense line could manage to, make something happen or keep a clean sheet?
Do you know what it is? If we can, if they all play at top of the game, I wouldn't rule it out. But I don't want to say that we're going to come to Stamford Bridge and keep a clean sheet because it's a hard ground to go to. You're obviously a fantastic team, and your attack on paper should probably absolutely blitz through our defence. But I think it's just we've shown time and time again. Crystal Palace the other week, for example, a lot of good teams go to Selhurst Park and get
Yeah,
beat. And I know it was a 0-0, but we've kept the clean sheet there. I think we showed, even in the playoffs, before we brought all these players in, that the defensive fight that Regis Labrie has instilled into the team, we can now sit deep and we can just ride out games and defend. But at the same time, whilst you have scored a lot more goals than us, you have also actually conceded more goals than us.
yeah.
So I don't want it to be the game where we just sit back and try and hold out for the draw. As much as I want to be defensively coherent and solid, there's no reason why we shouldn't also be aiming to hit you on the counter.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, obviously some of the attackers that you've got scared me. João Pedro, he's due a goal. I know he hasn't scored for 10
Estival,
games, but he's a fantastic
Estival,
player. Esteval,
Neto.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tricky one to try and keep a clean sheet. But I think as long as we don't concede early doors and we keep our heads, I'm hoping that we can put in a solid defensive performance. Even if we don't
Yeah.
win, as long as it's a good performance, that's all I care about.
Like, yeah, like we all know, history used to like kind of come up in football. The last 5 games, Chelsea has won one. You guys have managed to won just one in the last 5 games against Chelsea. We've scored 14 goals against you guys. And do you think this history is something that we need to look into tomorrow, or you just think it's a different total Sunderland coming into play Chelsea at Stamford Bridge?
Yeah, I think this is definitely a different version of Sunderland that we're going to be seeing tomorrow. I think far and away the team we've got now is better than anything that we saw during our last 10-year spell in the Premier League. But if we want to talk about history, which team came to Stamford Bridge and ended Jose Mourinho's unbeaten at home record over how many years? Because I remember a team in red and white coming
Yeah,
and doing that. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not completely against all odds, but it's
yeah.
obviously if history is anything to go by, and if form is anything to go by, it's going to be very very tough game.
Yeah, like you said, I also want to believe it's gonna be a very tough game. Tomorrow I'm expecting a very, very competitive game to be honest. But I just one thing about uh what I'm thinking tomorrow is how Chelsea is gonna keep her from, getting a red card. This red card situation has been, oh my goodness, it's just unbelievable that Chelsea keeps getting five red cards in 6, 7 games. Terrible, terrible, bro. But if we are able to stay out from getting a red card, I think tomorrow should be a very good game, very, very competitive game, especially when you guys have got a very solid defender. We've got a very solid attacking player. I think that's where we're gonna see all these things going around, and but to be honest with you, what do you think your manager needs to do tomorrow, specific to do tomorrow against Chelsea? Or you want to approach this game just the way you've been, approaching other games you've been playing in the Premier League?
Do you know what it is? I think we've got to just keep playing the fearless brand of football that we have done. I think we learned a hard lesson against Manchester United, who's obviously a
2
worse
0
team than
yeah.
Chelsea. We all started with the back four, but we did have our Masuaku in the team who
Yeah.
hasn't quite been at it this season. Once we went to the back five, we were a lot better. So I've seen some people suggesting that we should be looking at going to a back five ahead of tomorrow. The only issue with that for me is with Omar Alderete being out. If you have a back three of Gertrude, Mukiele, and Dan Ballard, that leaves your only centre back backup option on the bench is Luke
Mm,
O'Nien. And as much as I love Luke O'Nien, for your first Premier League game to be away at Stamford Bridge, it would be a bit of a baptism of fire if he had to come on the pitch at
yeah.
any point in the game. So I think we should stick with the back four and just focus on being solid at the back and hitting teams on the counter. It's what you've got to do when you get promoted to this division. We've done it well so far,
Yeah.
and if we get one or two fortunate chances, we need to take those chances, because there's been a couple instances this season. For example, in the Manchester United game, there was debate as to whether Adingra was offside in the build-up, but Traore had a fantastic chance about 2 minutes in, and if he
Yeah.
puts that away, maybe it's a different game.
Yeah.
But he didn't, and we got beat. So it's like, I just want us to keep going with the same attitude, the same resilience, the same tenacity, and whatever happens, happens, to be honest.
So let's go into it again. I mean, if you come to Stamford Bridge tomorrow and get a draw or a win, I mean, what does this gonna be mean to you tomorrow?
Oh, well,
Get
to
a
me,
point out of Stamford Bridge tomorrow.
it would be absolutely fantastic. I think that would be a result that makes you think, where is the limit for Sunderland this season? Because
Yeah.
when we first got promoted before the window started, I said to myself, I think we'll stay up, but it was just on gut feeling. It's going to be biased because I want my club to stay up. You have the transfer window, and I go, I think we can finish 15th here. And then you look at the start we've had, and I'm thinking anywhere 15th upwards isn't out of the question. If we
Yeah.
start getting good results against teams higher in the table
Yeah.
and continue to beat the teams who are supposed to be lower down the table, the sky's sort of the limit. But we've got to just take each game as it comes. I've seen a lot of people, I think it's tongue in cheek, but a lot of people saying, oh, someone's going to get Europe, this and that. I think it's far too early to be talking about stuff like that. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
stranger things have happened in football, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Right. I mean, like you said, what if you guys lost to Chelsea tomorrow? How are you gonna be feeling? Like, are you gonna be like disappointed, or you feel like there's still a lot of things, good positive things that's gonna come around for Sunderland? Or let's just get into that one.
Do you know what it is? If we get beat, which deep down is probably what I'm expecting, and there's nothing wrong with that because Chelsea is a really good team. I think as long as our players give a good account of themselves,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. If we turn over and get beat 5-0 and go down without a fight, I'll be disgusted, because that's just simply not the Sunderland way that we're playing football nowadays. But if we get beat, the players will give a good account of themselves. We've got 14 points already. We've got more
Yeah.
points than Southampton had all season last year. So it's
Yeah.
like, the good start that we've had, you can afford to lose games like this. Not that I would ever be happy to lose games, but
Yeah.
we've done it. We've done enough where, for example, if we're in the position of like a Wolves or a West Ham, where you've got 2, 4 points
Yeah.
at this stage of the
Yeah.
season and you're getting beat, obviously it's just loss after loss, and
Yeah.
it's gonna start getting you back up. But I think you've got to sort of, the lads aren't going to be perfect. They're not robots. They're not going to be able to defy expectations every single game. It's a
Yeah.
38 game season, and there will be games where we lose, and we'll probably will get a hiding at some point this season. And it
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me if it was tomorrow. I'm hoping it won't be, but there's every chance. So as I said, as long as the lads give a good account of themselves, I think I'd be
Yeah,
fine
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
the result
Like
is.
you said to me, I felt like 14 points in 8 games is, unbelievable, to be honest. If someone should have said it in the start of the season, no one would believe, to be honest. And I think you guys are just looking for 26 more points to obviously stay up. And, if you can get 14 points in 7 games or 8 games, I still believe that there's so much positive that's going to come up from Sunderland, to be honest. So let's talk about this. Obviously, every player is so much important on the pitch, but tomorrow, what player from Chelsea do you think is going to give you a hard time? I mean, what player are you looking forward to? Like, come on, this guy might be a problem for Sunderland tomorrow. Maybe through your weakness or something.
Do you know what it is? That's such a good question. I think if he starts, which I imagine he might do because he's looked very sharp every time I've watched him this season, I think Esteval could potentially give
Come
Ronaldo a
on,
tough game
that's what I want to
because
hear, bro.
the only reason I'm saying that, don't get me wrong, Ronaldo
Yeah,
fantastic defensively, and
yeah,
other than that City sending off, he hasn't really put a foot wrong for Sunderland, but he has missed the last 3 games. He's going to have to come straight back into the side, whether we like it or not, because we have no other option now without Alderete being out. So I think with the sort of energy, the agility, and he's very very skillful. He's listen, all the hype around Esteval is completely justified from what I've seen of him. He's a fantastic young player, so I
yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if he has a good game. But other than that, João Pedro's due a goal. I said before, every time I watch him, I think he's great. And as I say, he's not scored for a few games now in the league, I believe. So it wouldn't surprise me if he gets back to scoring ways against us.
Thank you very much, Dylan. It's on to you now if you have anything to, ask me about Chelsea or, sort of, let's have sort of, combined interaction. But for now, that's all I've got for you, and this is so much interesting, yeah. So it's on to you now. If you've got something for me, just let us know.
Yeah, I've got a quick one for you just because I'm really curious. When it gets towards January, I'm of the opinion that it's better to have more players than you need than to leave yourself short. With the fact that he's now made a competitive appearance for you this season, do you see a world where Mark Guiu returns to Sunderland on loan in January, or do you think he's going to work his way into the side?
Oh, no, 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 bro. To be honest with you, Maggie is one of those players that I really, really appreciate a lot. I made a video a couple of days ago with this guy. This guy is unbelievable. It's
Mhm.
unbelievable. All you need to do is just give him some time. I'm telling you, he's a special striker. The way I look at him is very dangerous. If you have a striker that works so hard in front of a goalkeeper like that, bro, don't let him go. Don't let him go. We saw what happened against Liverpool. The problem about the fans is that people are tend to like look away from some quite good things, on player. I mean, some quite good attribute on players. It's not all about scoring goals every game. It's all about what sort of impact can a striker give to you. When a striker charges onto the goalkeeper and defense line, it's caused a lot of problems. They were not able to play from the back line. They were so confused. And that's what happened against Liverpool. Immediately he came in, Liverpool was so much confused because immediately the ball goes to the goalkeeper, he's down there sliding, making all those tackles. So to me, I feel like Maguire is a special striker, to be honest. I would prefer Chelsea to keep him. I don't mind if we have three strikers when the lap is back. We've seen in a couple of games that Joao Pedro struggles a lot when Palmer is not on the pitch. He's more or less like a number 10, but can also operate as a number 9 if he has a player like Palmer behind him. We can give him some solid pass to make those goals easy for him. But Maguire is so much hard-working striker, to be honest. To me, right now, I'm not too being biased, but I will start him ahead of the lap. I love this guy so much. His energy is just unbelievable, to be honest. So to me, I don't see any reason why Chelsea need to loan him back to Sunderland. I know you guys are seeing something special about him and you want to have him back desperately. But to me, Chelsea, please just keep him, because at the end of the day, he started scoring in the last game, and that's what I said. Just give this guy some more time, and he's gonna bang goals for you. He's always ready to make something happen. Last season, he scored 6 goals in Conference League. People don't really understand that sort of impact for a player, to score. He will have been the highest goal scorer in the competition. It's just because of the injury, he will have been the highest goal scorer in the competition. So for sort of that kind of a player, and we know Spanish player that's so much good. The more they grow old, the more they've got a lot of things to give you. So for me, I'm not seeing Chelsea, loaning back McGill to Sunderland. I want him to stay. This guy is one of those guys that I'm looking forward to be, a proper Chelsea striker, to be honest.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those players where, with the background he's got, Barcelona academy at his age now, to have played for Barcelona and Chelsea, you don't get that sort of
Yeah,
CV so early in your career without the talent. And I think with
absolutely.
with how well he's done at the youth levels, his Conference League performances last season, it's one of those years for him where he's only going to benefit from
Yeah.
playing games. If you're going to keep him, you've got to play him, and if you're not going to play him, you've got to send him somewhere for the
Yeah,
second half of the
absolutely.
season.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the goal he scored for Sunderland in his second game, innit? Like that
Yeah,
goal
against
was.
Huddersfield, it was a good
Yeah,
header. It was
you
good.
can see that it's just that kind of a player that can kind of cope in any environment. I felt like when we bring him back to Chelsea and we started putting him on the bench, I was fuming. I was fuming hard because this boy deserves to play.
Mm,
He's very hungry. He can score goals. He can charge into the, and he's not lazy. He's a very hardworking striker. So to me, I don't see him coming to Sunderland. I'm sorry, Dylan.
that's
I'm
okay.
seeing
I
him
can
staying at
live with that.
Chelsea and of course fighting for his place. Yes. Yeah.
Mhm. Right, I've got two more questions for you. Then,
Yeah.
first one's about a Sunderland player. I'm not sure how much of us you've watched this season, but we're all getting very excited about our midfield man Noah Siddiqui, and a lot of people has given very strong comparisons to a certain N'Golo Kante. So, have you seen much of Noah Siddiqui, and do you get a similar vibe from that you got from Kante as in terms of potentially one day? Or
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, I've not really watched Sunderland too much this season. I won't lie to you because I've
Mhm.
so much been, busy with a lot of things.
Oh,
This
of course.
channel, I've got a lot of things to do. But to be honest, I've watched a couple of games. I've seen these guys. I'm familiar with some of them, and to be honest, it's hard to compare a player with Kante. I won't lie to you. Kante is on another level in football. In
Oh,
football world right now, it's hard. The way this guy has put down some legacy, bro. It's difficult. There's
mhm.
no Premier League player that has won Premier League back to back from a different club. He won it against Leicester. He won it against Chelsea. You know, played the whole season with top performance. When you say top performance, these players they come into games, they improve in every game. They give 100%, 110%. So to me, I feel like Kante. It's difficult to compare any player with Kante. Even right now, there's no proper Chelsea player that wants to compare Casado to
Mhm.
Kante because Kante is just in another level. I mean, no, it's to be honest. I know we've got some quite few young guys coming up, doing great things from number six, and but to be honest, to compare Kante with any such of player right now, I think it's unbelievable. It's not something that I will really reckon or really believe. To be honest,
Mhm.
yeah,
No, definitely, he was a different animal. He's so good. He was one of those players. He was everywhere at the same time,
yeah, I'm
and
telling
that's
you, like,
where the Siddiqui comparison is coming from because he does that same thing for us. Obviously, to nowhere near the same level quite yet because he's still very young. But
yeah,
a lot of people are seeing sort of play style similarities between them. It's funny you mentioned young players because that is where my last question is going to come from.
yeah,
I think if you look at the team that Chelsea have put together now, the team that won the Champions League at PSG last season, do
yeah.
you think football is changing now where you don't necessarily need to have all of the best, most experienced heads? You just need a core of experience and then young, hungry players who are driven to win things. Because, I mean, you look at I know it's a much lower level, but you look at the team that won promotion for Sunderland last season, we had a lot of young players. Chris Rigg played week in, week out for a lot of the season. Joe Bellingham's there, loads more. Trey Hume. So and then that PSG team, obviously we've got Desiree Doué, the likes. Do you think that football's changing now, where young players are getting given more trust at a younger age? We're seeing Lamine Yamal, probably the best player in the world right now, and he's still, well, he might as well still be at school. He's that young. So do you think it's changing its angle towards young players coming through a lot sooner nowadays,
Dylan,
and that
I
being more
I
important?
love this question a lot. To be honest, it's something that I want to wake up every day and talk about. To be honest, I see it as a sort of situation where it's a totally gamble to me. It's a
Mm-hmm.
totally gamble, and because it's working out right now doesn't mean it's gonna keep working out.
Yeah.
And this is the analysis to my own opinion. How long do you want to keep young players? They're going to grow, of course. They're going to become, one day they're going to become experienced player. So when they become experienced player, what's going to happen to them? You're going to sell them and buy in young players. It doesn't work that way. For me, I used to tell Chelsea fan that don't be carried away that Chelsea won the Club World Cup. It's it's a competition, not a league.
Yeah.
Anyone can go there and be fortunate to win it. Don't be surprised Sunderland can. I don't know if you guys are still in FA or Carling Cup or whatever.
Well, I think it was. It's probably still near. I know we not
Yeah,
got knocked out of the League Cup very early against
yeah,
Huddersfield in that game that Marquinhos
yeah.
scored,
So
but
anyone can come up and get to the final of FA Cup or Carling Cup. It's a competition.
yeah,
The fact that we win PSG in the final says a lot. We know these boys are trying to gel up together, but winning a final shouldn't say a lot about a football team, to be honest, because we go into that final game with a very good statistics, with a very good connection, and it really works for us. You know what I mean? And I think PSG looks down on Chelsea, and that's what happened to them. Chelsea happened to them. We went into that game with a very, very good analysis tactics, and it works for us. And we have one of those best players that can, play in that sort of position. We saw what Palmer did that he was playing like a free role, and that really helps him a lot. That he was able to break into PSG. To cut the story short, I think it's a total gamble, to be honest. And when you see the way football is going right now, it's not all the players that is working for. If Chelsea buy, when you look at the 2021 till now, Chelsea has buy a loads of young players. How many of them has worked out?
mm,
You know what I mean? How many of
yeah,
them has worked out? This season, we've literally bought three, four young players. How many of them is literally work out? I think for now we can only count on Esteval. The rest, I'm not seeing them, being fruitful yet
yeah,
because they've not even some of them have not even had an assist or scored a goal for Chelsea. So to me, I feel like it's still very much important that we need to know that experience is very much important in the team, to be honest.
yeah,
Because I don't know, but to me, I feel like it's not the right direction because when you sign a player at the age of 22 years old, in the next 2 seasons, he's 24 years old. Do you want to sell him and bring in another 22-year-old boy? How does that, correlate with, building a
yeah.
team? And that's why I'm saying that in the next 2 years, are we saying we're going to sell Casado to buy another young player? Are we saying we're going to sell Palmer because Palmer probably going to be 20 something or 25? I don't know. Are we going to sell him because he's getting to a prime age and bring in another young player? So we know that it's all about building players, keeping them for a while and they get to know how to play with each other. And that's how they can they can win the league, they can win this, they can win that. So to me, I've not seen any Premier League team that won the Premier League with a young squad. I don't think I've seen it. Even when the Leicester, when it happens, you've got the like of King, Vardy, these big, big players with big
Yeah.
age. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I've not seen any young team in the Premier League history that have won the
Mm.
Premier League, to be honest. So to me, I feel like it's a total gamble. Sometimes it works, sometimes you see obviously that this team is lacking experience. And sometimes, and that's why when you see Chelsea going into some games and we lose or we draw the game, you're like, come on, this is just about having those experience, leadership, people that knows how to win the game, that knows how to control the game, that knows when to stop, attacking or when to endure sort of situation and win the game. So to me, I feel like it's a 50-50. Sometimes it works, sometimes you just see the massive gap of not having those experienced player in the team, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's high risk, but it's high reward. As
Yeah.
you said, in terms of league winning sides, it's quite rare at the minute that we see teams do it with a massive core of young players. But I think in terms of sides who are developing, I think especially maybe teams lower down the pyramid who want to work their way up, I think that's definitely the way forward. But when it comes to the Premier League, other than maybe Brighton, nobody's quite mastered it yet. Brighton, Brentford, those sort of teams.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one more question for you while I remember. Obviously, as a Chelsea fan,
Yeah.
you'll be very familiar with Thomas Tuchel. He
Oh
proved
yeah.
himself to be quite the knockout tournament specialist. Obviously, won the
Yeah.
Champions League, won
Yeah.
the FA Cup, I think it was. Do you think, with him being more suited to knockout tournaments, do England have a chance in the World Cup with Tuchel at the helm?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. I'm telling you, Tuchel is one of my favorite, manager ever, ever. To be honest with you, I can't forget the fact that we had a manager that won three trophies in 18 months, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. He won three trophies in 18 months for Chelsea.
Mm.
It's unbelievable. And the fact that we had a very huge crisis during this period, and he was able to manage this team. He was able to bring these players together to win those big trophies, bro. He's just a top notch. And that's
Mm.
why when you say Chelsea, I believe Tuchel should be one of those managers that you need to mention, to be honest. It's part of Chelsea, to be honest, it's just unfortunate for us to see that he was sacked just after the 4 games. I mean, it's terrible, to be honest. I wish he's still a Chelsea. Tomorrow, if I was offered to kill, I'm still gonna sign him. I'm still gonna. I'm telling you the truth, bro,
Yeah.
because we were broken down. We went through a lot of things. We were sanctioned. We couldn't buy players. We team gets sold. The football club gets sold. Transition and all these things. And this manager keep his head up and still the fact is that he loves Chelsea, to be honest. He just loves Chelsea project and he gave all his best. So to me, I feel like this is a very good example. He's got a massive CV to prove himself that he can do the job. And like you see, he's really doing the job. It's just that people are not being patient enough. I mean, England, people are expecting a lot. England is not a football nation that goes for the less. People want to win 5-6-0. Even
Yeah.
when England is winning 2-0, people are not satisfied. People want to win 3-4-5-6-7-0. So there's a lot of criticism in, the English media, to be honest. So, but
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like Tuchel is a better man for the job.
Mhm.
The problem is there's just too much of selections, to be honest. When you look at the England, I think we need a sort of blueprint of how England want to play. You know what I mean? And the last call up, there's a lot of noise around not bringing Bellingham and all these things. What's the blueprint? What's the main focus? How do you want to play? How do you want to approach the World Cup? That's one of the biggest, things we need to look into. Are you playing a full attacking game or you just, so yeah, yeah. But to me, I feel like he's the right man for the job. The only thing I'm just worried about is the selection part of it. Right now Morgan Rogers is top. Is really playing well. The last goal he scored against, it was absolutely top notch. You've got the likes of Cole Palmer as well, Bellingham and Rice, and it's just too much, especially from the midfield. But I feel like he's gonna do the best thing. He's gonna do what's gonna be the best, and I hope he's gonna bring the World Cup to England. To be honest, yeah,
Yeah, do you know what it is? I'm confident that we can put a very good claim in for it. The only team who not even scares me, but who I think comfortably better would be someone like Spain. But as you were
yeah,
saying there, when it comes to knockout tournaments, Tuchel knows how to just get through games by hook or
absolutely,
by crook. I think you were completely right about saying people are a bit impatient with England at times. I think people need to learn to realise that in these friendlies and these qualifiers,
yeah,
which are glorified friendlies because we know we're going to qualify anyway, England's never, in the entire time I've watched football, England's never been
satisfied.
particularly good in those games. It's never been exciting.
Yeah,
But then when it comes to the tournament, when it actually
yeah,
matters, we can
yeah.
sometimes turn it on. And I think, as you said, there's a lot of selection and there's a lot of good players to choose
Yeah.
between. But it's a nice problem to have, having so many good players. I think when you're worried about how you're going to fit the likes of Adam Wharton, Anderson, and Rice all in
Yeah,
the team at the same time,
very young, good
that is a
players.
good problem to have, especially over the course of a full tournament.
Yeah, so like you said, the loss against Senegal 3-1, people were fuming.
Yeah,
People were like, "What's going on?" But people don't realize that England definitely need this. You need to lose a game before you can really understand what the problem is. If you
yeah.
keep winning games, you keep winning games. Then when the club comes and hits you hard, then you are now, oh. But the lose against Senegal opened a lot of ways for Tuchel to know what the problem is, that to know that there's a huge competition coming. If an African nation can come up to beat you that way in the GTEC stadium, there's a big problem. And that's gonna give you a head up to kind of work hard and see what the problem is. And obviously we can see that there's a massive changing between that game and all sort of game that has been played after that game till now. So to me, I feel like people needs to be patient. Tuchel is one of I believe after the World Cup, England is still going to retain him, obviously, because even if he managed not to win that cup, people will see that he's the right man for the job, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think again you're right about sometimes you need these results to
Yeah.
sort of kick a team on. I mean, you look at the last World Cup. Obviously, Argentina won it in the end, but that first game they got beat by Saudi
Yeah,
Arabia.
but
Everyone was
Saudi
going,
Arabia, yeah.
"What's Argentina doing? They're
Yeah, what's
terrible. They just got
Argentina going
beat."
to do in this
And then,
tournament?
and then
Yeah,
look what they did. They turned it on straight away after that. That's what spurred them on to go, "No, what are we doing? We need to be better than this." And then they just stormed the rest of the tournament. So yeah, I do fancy our chances of going far. I,
yeah.
I'd like to. In my heart's telling me win it. My head's telling me maybe Spurs win it. But we've got to
Yeah,
be fun. But I definitely do think Tuchel's the right man for the job. Like any friend of mine can vouch that I've said for about a year and a half before he actually got the job that he would have been my next England manager due to the
wow.
fact he's so good at knockout tournaments.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what comes around. It's just about a few months to go now, and yeah, I can't wait. I hope I could make it to the USA. Then, yeah, I just want to experience this World Cup. But we'll see how it goes. Thank you so much, Dylan, for the opportunity on coming on to Blues Fan TV. We really appreciate this one. It's a top-notch analysis. We really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. What can I say? Big thanks to
Oh,
you. Yeah, thank you so much for this. So, guys, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share, likes. Your support is really, really appreciated. Let's keep growing as a family, and we promise to always bring you the best of content that you can enjoy on this channel. We'll see you on to the next one. Peace and love.